everybody go for me? Okay, so I'm gonna hide myself. I'm gonna get my team to start rolling. There we go. And then if we could start with Brian.
All right. Hello, Brian Particelli from 2fab.com here. I know many fans, including myself, are very excited to see people like Kyle Richards and more OGs return, but did anyone need any convincing? And I'm curious how you feel about fans clamoring for people like Josh Hartnett and Danielle Harris to maybe pop up in the next one somehow.
Strangely, it didn't. Nobody needed convincing. It was a funny request to reach out to folks, and I don't know that it was expected. You know, Charles Cyphers has been retired for years, and to be able to convince him to come back and reprise a role that he'd created so many years ago was exciting. And Kyle, it's just so fun to think that she was 7 or 8 years old when she was in the original film, and here she is playing that role and slipping into an echo of the Laurie Strode character. So we don't have any big intentions for any sort of clever callback characters in Halloween Ends, but you never know. I sometimes my nostalgia gets the best of me, so we'll see.
All right.
I guess that's me. Congratulations on the film, David and Jason. I am Amir Muhammad. I'm with the Gatecrashers. My question is, this film has a bit of a theme about misinformation and the way mob mentality sort of negatively impact the community. I was wondering if that was the game plan for you guys way back when you designed this trilogy, or was it something that came to mind through current events or through the news?
Well, we filmed it 2 years ago, so it's interesting to think about it in that with that perspective. Is that it was when we were finishing the film and headlines of similar subjects were starting to happen that we felt, oh, this is really relevant, and then COVID happens and puts us on the shelf for a year, and now in a strange way with the I don't know, the public consciousness and the awareness and the conversations that people are having, I feel like in a strange way we've taken a genre slasher movie and felt like it's landed in a time of some sort of cultural relevance that is coincidental, but is fascinating as a filmmaker to be a part of those dialogues.
Thank you.
Hello, guys. Had a great time. I'm Andrew from Discussing Film. And curious enough, I had a lot of people that I've seen talking about the movie are having a blast on just how violent it is. And it feels like the kills have really been up to like 11. And people are even calling back to like the violence of like Rob Zombie's films in his iteration. I was curious, can we talk about upping the ante, David? And if perhaps you felt that you weren't going far enough, or you were starting to push the limits, because it really does get like gnarly to say the least, I think.
Yeah, you know, and it's also very subjective. In entering the film and in the script phase, we had no intentions of making a graphically violent movie. It was certainly ambitious and aggressive from a physical and stunt logistical level, but it wasn't. It wasn't until we were filming him in these sequences and figuring out where to place the camera and seeing how effective some of the makeup and killing effects were that we're so fortunate to work with a great artist like makeup and effects artist like Chris Nelson that when we're in the editing room and we're navigating where the subtlety might live, all of a sudden the editor Tim Alverson and I just kind of threw up our hands and said, subtlety is not this film. Perhaps it will return, but it is not in a movie called Halloween Kills. So let's just have fun with it. Let's give the audience something to scream at and eat popcorn to and have a good time at the movies.
Thank you.
Hi, this is Alyssa from Hollywood Unlocked. This is for Jason and David. How do you think some of like the diehard fans are going to react to seeing some of the most memorable and characters from the original movie, almost all of them get killed off in Halloween Kills?
David, that's all you, buddy.
Oh man, how are they gonna react? I don't know. Is that true? I guess it is true. Well, there's certainly a high body count, and we lose some of our friends. Some of them survive. So, it was sad to see some of
the fans of the original movie are going to love this movie. They're going to be thrilled. And as we know from our adventures in all the Halloweens movie, just because you die doesn't mean you don't come back.
Good point.
Definitely.
Hey guys, Heather Wixon with Daily Dead. I wanted to ask because so often in slasher franchises, we just kind of move on from movie to movie and kills to kills, and we don't really deal with the aftermath very often, especially from an emotional perspective. And I was wondering if you talk about sort of addressing that in this film, because I think for me, that's one of the most striking elements to it, is that for everything that's going on and the amazing kills and the chaos, there are still these quieter moments where people are really getting to stop and take a breath. I just thought that was really interesting because we don't see that very often, particularly in this sort of subgenre of horror.
Yeah, and I do feel like I do feel like I'm drawn as a writer and director. I'm drawn to making sure that there is an emotional core to these characters, and as abstract and chaotic as some of the violence might get, and grotesque as it gets, oftentimes acknowledging that within the reality of these characters. You know, there's a moment with Karen and Allison on the staircase, grieving for Allison's father Ray, who passed away earlier that same night, and I think moments like that where we acknowledge what the reality of the trauma is, and as Jamie is so eloquently can speak to the survivors of these events, making sure there's moments that we really feel the humanity underneath the surface of this movie monster.
Excellent, thank you.
Dana?
Yep, sorry. My question is for David. I was wondering, Halloween has been around for about 40 years or so. And so when dealing with this trilogy, what were the elements that you really wanted to create that separated not so much Halloween from the other movies, but kind of modernized it? And what was it, the things that was really essential that you still wanted to keep?
Well, I think there's the essential DNA, three things: Michael Myers, Laurie Strode, and the score, John Carpenter. So having those three elements, now we can have our creative muses, we can take our inspirations, we can travel wherever we want with a narrative because our mythology is in place with those three creative elements. And so to me, it's just a wonderful playground to be able to take legacy characters from Carpenter's '78 film, some of the new characters that we created in our 2018 movie, and take them on an explosive journey through Haddonfield.
Thank you.
Dave?
Dave Dreher, Gruesome Magazine. David, just curious as far as the writing aspect, how does one look at something like John Carpenter's classic one and create a new path after all these other films have been made, you know, to take us on a journey to where we're ultimately going to get a satisfying conclusion to Laurie's peril?
Yeah, well,
what's that process like?
Well, once you get over the intimidation of it, because those are some heavy shoes to fill, and realize that we have the support of a great team from Jason and our friends at Blumhouse and all of our technicians that surround us. It's basically it's Danny McBride and I and a new writing collaborator on each of the three chapters of our trilogy, from Jeff Radley, Scott Teems, Chris Bernier, and Paul Logan, and we workshop these scripts, and we talk about the creative opportunities and the obstacles. You can always write yourself into a corner, and then you need someone to look to and say, okay, now how do we get out? And so if whether it's Michael being trapped in the basement or Laurie being stabbed in the gut, these are dramatic tools that we've reached into, utilized for our narratives, and then now we have to find solutions to evolve the story of all these characters and make these characters that are so iconic at this point, mythological characters that we as viewers, as fans, as an audience want to return to.
Thank you, Dave.
Riley?
Howdy, my name is Riley Farrell. I'm a reporter at Columbia University's Pulitzer School. Thanks for taking the time. I really appreciate it. My question is for David. So, a term used in the franchise is pure evil. So, for Halloween Kills, what is pure evil according to your direction?
Pure evil. Well, Michael Myers is the essence of evil. You know, there's an expressionless, emotionless mask that he wears. It's not a traditional horrific monster. It's a nothing mask, and that's kind of the beauty of it, is that we can project what we're afraid of. We can project what is evil to us onto Michael Myers. So Michael is the essence of pure evil. Laurie is the essence of pure good, and then Halloween Kills as a movie explores the blurry line. What happens when the community starts to misunderstand, misrepresent, confuse what is good, what is evil. So it's nice to have the extremes defining good and evil, and then this movie is about that confusion and chaos.
That's fascinating. Thank you.
Thanks.
All right. And that's going to be our time, you guys. Thank you so